Hey, it's Jeremy from Jeremy.net. So I am working on some more head studies from figure drawing class. I'm going back and I'm redrawing. Basically, the on the page it's on the left. It's the that upper that top profile, the largest drawing on the page. As you can see, I blocked it in kind of once real quick, and I'm immediately blocking in the next version of that drawing. And with these, the thing that I'm really doing here is I'm repeating primitive basic forms. Simple basic volumes of like the head shape, the mass of the face, the neck, working in the placement of the nose and the lips. And the reason for repeating all these forms is because in each one I don't get it right. On some of them, I make the nose a little bit too large or too long. Some of them, the eyes are too far apart, or they don't feel like they're actually set within the head. Some of them, I don't really get the cheekbones down. So I'll repeat primitive basic forms multiple times, trying to get it right. And it's actually kind of useful to have all of those alternate versions there on the same page. And again, I move on to a different drawing now. This one is the very faint looking drawing that's right next to the wrist on the large drawing of the woman touching her chin, where she's looking upward. She doesn't even have pupils in that drawing. But as I'm going in here, there's a particularly bad habit that I have of making my drawings too blocky. This is something that my figure drawing instructor even called me out on in my most recent session, and I acknowledge it. It's a bad habit that I have. But the reason why I tend to make these forms as blocky as I do is because it's a way of me trying to compensate for or deal with other problems that I have. For instance, in general, I think a lot of my drawings tend to be mushy, where I'm drawing and I may have lines that may make an interesting silhouette for a figure, but in terms of it actually feeling solid and structural, a lot of the drawings that I've done in the past have not had that sense of structure, have not had that sense of actual volume, like a three-dimensional object sitting in space. So in response to that, I think I've moved a lot more towards doing blockier forms and just trying to make them feel like they're carved out of stone, even if they're carved or chiseled a little too bluntly or blockily. Like even this one, the page, I apologize, you couldn't really see the face, but it was the face of a woman that was just off to the left of the drawing page. But that one, the chin was way too angular, so I've actually rounded. The woman had a softer, rounder, curved chin. And now me going into this underside drawing, and you unfortunately can't see the drawings that I'm working on. They're actually off of the page. I apologize for not realizing that and moving the camera. But even for these, I'm like going in and just lightly drawing these things in, but they're blocky, they're quick masses, and I just keep repeating. Another thing that I'll do is I may do a drawing, and if I know I'm not getting it right, I may jump around and do a different pose and come back to, like I've come back to that same angle that I was doing, 2 heads ago. And this is me again trying to get that underside of the chin structure. So like 3 times I'll sit there and I will try to block out those very primitive basic forms before moving on and doing another drawing. And even this angle, I'll come back to it again later in this session. Because, I feel like a lot of times if you don't get something right and you bash your head against the wall like 3 times and it's still not there, it doesn't mean you give up for good, but maybe just moving around to another pose, trying something else, and then coming back to it. Because again, this is me coming back to, well, it's not that same pose, but it's a very similar one. This one, the model was sticking her tongue out, which, it's always nice when you've got a model that has a sense of humor. And these were all very quick gestures. This particular page, like you can see, off the side, I usually try to mark the time, how long the poses are. And the ones that are on this page were like 2-minute expression poses. So it's just the model really quickly, giving us quick expressions that she could hold for not so long without making her face, hurt. And even this one, putting way more detail in there than was in the original drawing. She kind of has a square jaw look, almost like Big Barda from Jack Kirby's Fourth World. But yeah, for all of these, it's like I'm going in and just trying to give a sense of structure where a lot of the stuff I have is, just loose, mushy, or poor sense of proportion. That's the other thing that I'm constantly fighting against. If I'm not constantly staying on top of it, the proportions go real wonky on my drawings real quick. And I'm beginning to realize it's not a matter of, oh, if I keep working at this, I'll get better at it. It's more of, I just need to be on top of it every single time I draw, because it's always going to be there to catch me if I'm slipping. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos and you'd like to support this channel, go to patreon.com/Jeremy. That's patreon.com/GERIMI. For as little as $2 a month, you can get a bonus monthly live stream and tons of additional behind-the-scenes artwork and blog posts. If you'd like to read some of my comic books for free, you can go to news.jeremy.net. Or if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comics, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. And again, Jeremy is spelled GERIMI. That's it for now. Go be creative.